On one hand, every motivational speaker tells you to dream big and map out your 5-year plan. They tell you to visualize your success and hustle relentlessly towards that distant, shiny goal. On the other hand, every wellness guru tells you to be present and live in the moment. They say that happiness can only be found right here, right now, in this very breath. If you're an ambitious person, this advice creates a constant low-grade anxiety. You feel guilty when you're planning because you're not present. And you feel guilty when you're just being because you're not working towards your future. It's a psychological tug-of-war that leaves you feeling perpetually dissatisfied. We're told to chase the horizon, but also to love where we stand. Nobody teaches you how to do both at the same time. So how can you build an ambitious future without sacrificing your happiness today? Is it even possible to be both a planner and a happy present person? The answer from both ancient philosophy and modern science isn't what you think. And in this video, I'm going to give you a clear, science-backed framework to finally resolve this conflict. By the end, you will have a tool to be ambitious without the anxiety. Now, if you feel this tension between your future goals and your present peace, you are not alone. In fact, it's a sign that you're a thoughtful and ambitious person who wants to live a meaningful life. The problem is that we're often presented with a false choice. It's either team hustle or team be here now. This internal conflict has a name, and I call it the planner's paradox. The planner's paradox is the mistaken belief that you must choose between building a great future and enjoying a happy present. The truth is, this is not an either-or problem. It's a both-and puzzle, and we're going to solve it. To do that, we need to deconstruct this paradox using some powerful tools. We'll look at what modern neuroscience says about how our brain plans for the future. We'll borrow timeless wisdom from ancient Stoic philosophers who mastered this very problem 2,000 years ago. And most importantly, I'm going to give you a simple 3-step method to solve the planner's paradox once and for all. This method will give you the clarity to pursue your goals with focus while feeling calm and content today. So let's begin by cutting through all the noise. This is the single most important distinction you need to make. Okay, let's cut through the noise. Here is the single most important distinction you need to make. The problem isn't thinking about the future. The real issue is the difference between passive worry and active work. Passive worry is when your mind endlessly loops on what-if scenarios about the future. What if I fail the interview? What if I never get that promotion? What if I'm making the wrong choice? This kind of thinking is unproductive. It drains your energy, and it produces nothing but anxiety. It's like spinning your wheels in the mud. There's a lot of motion, but you're not going anywhere. Worrying is a form of procrastination disguised as productivity. Active work is completely different. Active work is any present moment action that is aligned with your desired future. It doesn't have to be a huge, dramatic step. It's about laying the next brick in the road. Let's take that job interview example. Passive worry is spending 3 hours imagining all the ways you could mess up. You think about tough questions, your mind goes blank, and you feel a pit in your stomach. Active work is spending 30 minutes researching the company's values. It's practicing your answer to one common question. It's picking out your outfit the night before to reduce stress. Do you feel the difference? One is a cycle of fear. The other is a step of progress. You've felt this difference before, haven't you? That feeling of spinning your wheels versus the feeling of being in the zone. That is the core of what we're talking about today. The goal is not to stop thinking about the future. It's to stop passively worrying about it and start actively working towards it. This isn't just a nice idea. It's rooted in how our brains are actually wired. Future happiness isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a byproduct of present action. This whole struggle starts inside your own mind with a specific brain function. Neuroscientists have found that our brain has a powerful ability to simulate the future, and it's called prospection. Prospection is your mind's internal time machine. It allows you to picture what it might be like to get that degree, to move to a new city, or to launch that business. It's an amazing evolutionary tool that helps us plan and prepare. But here's the catch. When this powerful tool is not given a clear task, it defaults to creating anxiety. It becomes the engine for our passive worry. Your brain simulates 1,000 negative outcomes, not to torture you, but to try and prepare you for them. The problem is, you can't prepare for 1,000 vague fears. So how do we harness prospection for good and escape this cycle of anxiety? This is where another key concept from psychology comes in, the flow state. Coined by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a flow state is that magical feeling of being completely absorbed in an activity. It's when you're so focused on what you're doing that time seems to disappear. Your sense of self fades away, and your worries about the future simply vanish. Think of a musician lost in a song, an athlete in the zone during a game, or a coder deep into a complex problem. They are not thinking about winning or losing. They are completely immersed in the process. This is the optimal state of human consciousness. Here's where it all connects. Your future goal, created by prospection, gives your present actions a clear direction. But the happiness, the peace, the fulfillment all come from engaging in the active work so deeply that you enter a flow state. The future plan is the compass, but the flow state is the joy of the journey itself. You need the compass to know where you're going, but you don't stare at it the whole time. You focus on taking the next step, and the next, and the next. This is how you use your brain's natural ability to plan for the future without it hijacking your present happiness. But what's amazing is that this isn't a new discovery. Ancient philosophers knew this 2,000 years ago. They just used a different language to describe it. This brings us to the profound wisdom of the Stoics. Thinkers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius were masters of managing ambition and anxiety. At the heart of their philosophy is a simple but life-changing idea called the dichotomy of control. The principle is this: in any situation, there are things you can control and things you cannot. What can you control? Your thoughts, your judgments, and most importantly, your actions in this present moment. What can you not control? Almost everything else, including the weather, what other people think, and the ultimate outcome of your efforts. The Stoics argued that all human suffering comes from confusing these two categories. We suffer when we try to control what we can't, like forcing a specific future to happen. And we suffer when we neglect what we can control, like the quality of our effort right now. Think of a farmer planting a seed. The farmer can't control the weather, the rain, or whether pests will come. Worrying about a drought won't make the clouds appear. But the farmer can control the quality of the soil, the care in planting the seed, and the diligence in watering the crop. The Stoic approach is to pour 100% of your energy into preparing the best possible soil and planting with care. Then you must accept the final harvest, whatever it may be, with grace. This isn't about giving up on your goals. It's the opposite. It's about liberating all your mental and emotional energy from the prison of worry. You stop wasting precious focus on things you cannot change, the future outcome, and you redirect all of that power into the one thing you can change, your actions, right here, right now. You can't steer a parked car. Your goals tell you the destination, but only action in the present starts the engine. This powerful idea brings us to our practical solution. So what's the actual solution? We've explored the psychology and the philosophy. Now let's combine them into a practical three-step method I call the mindful action method. This is how you solve the planner's paradox in your daily life. Step 1 is to define the destination, but you do this once and briefly. This is where you use that prospection ability we talked about. Set a clear, compelling goal. What do you want to achieve? Write it down, make it specific, and get a clear picture of what success looks like. This isn't about obsession. It's about direction. This destination gives your daily actions meaning and purpose. Step 2 is the most important. Focus on the footwork, and you do this daily. Once your destination is set, you shift 99% of your attention to the single step right in front of you. Ask yourself, what is the one small action I can take today that moves me 1% closer to my goal? This is the active work we defined earlier. If your goal is to run a marathon, your footwork isn't worrying about mile 26. It's putting on your shoes and doing today's 10-minute run. If your goal is to start a business, your footwork isn't fantasizing about being a CEO. It's sending that one email or researching one competitor. This is where you find flow. This is where you find peace. And this is where progress is actually made. Step 3 is to practice detached observation, and you do this always. This step draws directly from the Stoic wisdom of the dichotomy of control. Your brain will inevitably serve you up worries about the future. It's what it does. The practice is not to fight these thoughts or believe them. Instead, you simply notice them, almost like a scientist observing data. There's that worry about the future again. Then, gently and without judgment, you return your focus to the footwork. You see the worries as clouds passing in the sky of your mind. You are the sky, not the clouds. Define the destination, focus on the footwork, and practice detached observation. That is the framework for ambitious, peaceful living. If you're finding this framework for turning anxiety into action valuable, consider subscribing for more practical wisdom to improve your life. Enough theory. How do you use this tomorrow morning when you wake up feeling anxious about your to-do list? Let's break it down with some real-world scenarios. First, let's recap the 3 steps: define, focus, and detach. Imagine you're feeling career anxiety because you feel stuck and think, my boss never notices me. Passive worry is refreshing your LinkedIn feed for the 10th time and complaining to a friend. Using our framework, first you define the destination. I want to earn a promotion or a new role with more responsibility in the next 12 months. Today, I will schedule a 15-minute meeting with my boss to ask for feedback. Finally, when the worry, what if she says no, pops up, you practice detached observation. Notice the thought, and then return your focus to drafting the meeting request email. Now let's take a personal project, like writing a book or learning a skill, where you feel overwhelmed. The thought, "This is too big, I'll never finish," is classic passive worry. First, you define the destination. I will have a completed first draft of my book by December 31st. Today, my only job is to write 200 words, or just open the document and write one sentence. The size of the step doesn't matter as much as the consistency of taking it. Then, when the feeling of overwhelm returns, you practice detached observation. There's that feeling of being overwhelmed again. Then, you gently bring your attention back to the keyboard and the single sentence you need to write. This framework isn't a magic trick, it's a mental muscle. The more you practice shifting from passive worry to active work, the stronger that muscle gets. Eventually, it becomes your default way of operating. You become someone who can hold ambitious goals lightly while executing with intense, present-moment focus. So, to bring this all together, let's recap our journey. We started with the deep frustration of the planner's paradox, the feeling of being torn between the future and the present. We learned that this isn't a character flaw, but a byproduct of how our brains are wired for perspection. We then discovered the crucial reframe. The battle isn't future versus present, it's passive worry versus active work. We armed ourselves with the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, learning to focus only on what we can control, our present effort. And finally, we put it all together into the 3-step mindful action method: define, focus, and detach. The best way to build your future is to forget about it and instead pour all your excellence into the present moment. This isn't about ignoring your dreams, it's the most effective way to achieve them. So yes, you absolutely can dream big and live happily today. The key is knowing when to look at the map and when to just focus on the road beneath your feet. Your destination gives you direction, but your happiness is found in the quality of each step you take. Let your ambition set the course, but let your action in the present be your sanctuary. Action is a form of prayer for your future self, while worry is a prayer for what you don't want. Choose your prayers wisely. The future is a story you can't read yet, but the pen is in your hand right now. Your future is built with the bricks you lay today. So I have a question for you. What's one goal you'll apply the focus on the footwork method to this week? Share it in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're building. Thanks for watching.